reason why I compare something can be obvious and sometimes it isn't. Now, so sometimes the reason why I compare something to something might not be obvious, and then there is no balagha in it. So if I were to say Muhammad is a tree, okay, I don't understand it. But if I were to say Muhammad is like a tree, fruitful, full of benefits, then all of a sudden it becomes clear. So another way to do this here is Muhammadun Bahrun fil Karam. So what did I leave out? I left out Adatu Tashbeeh. So there are two things which should always be mentioned. Which is the Mushabbah and the Mushabbah bihi. Otherwise, there is no Tashbeeh going on. There is no Tashbeeh going on. Then we no longer talk about Tashbeeh. Okay? So because in the Tashbeeh you have the Mushabbah, Mushabbah bihi. If I leave away... Yeah.
But there has to be Wajh Shabah as well.
Yes, Wajh Shabah as well. But some, as we will see later on, if you say Muhammadun Bahrun, how would you call that?
There's no... Well, you have to figure out the Wajh Shabah yourself. It's not very obvious.
But you said, there's no Wajh Shabah, but is it still obvious what I mean or not? Muhammadun is a lion.
When you say lion, it becomes...
Okay, yes, okay. So you can mention the Mushabbah and the Mushabbah bihi without Wajh Shabah, isn't it? So Muhammad is a lion.
Okay, I understand. But there is a Wajh Shabah, but we just can't see
Exactly.
it.
But the Wajh Shabah can be either explicit or implicit. Right? So, all of these things have names. That's what we are going to look at, right? So, if I were to say, وَالدَّهْرُ كَالْبَحْرِ لَا يَنْفَكُّ ذَا كَدَرٍ وَإِنَّمَا صَفْوُهُ بَيْنَ الْوَرَى لَمَعٌ. Time is like a river which does not stop being turbid. It is ever being pure for mankind a luster. Ya salam. So where is the mushabbah, the mushabbah bihi, the wajhu shabah, and the adatu tashbih? Okay.
Dahru is the mushabbah.
Yes. Dahru is the mushabbah. Okay. And what's the mushabbah bihi? Al-bahr is, I'm just going to do mushabbah bihi. Where's adatu tashbih? The kaf. And where is the wajhu shabah? لا ينفك ذا كدر. Only this here? Lama. You say lama, a luster. Well, that's for you to find out. Like here is all what he's mentioning. Time is like a river. Okay. There we have mushabbah bihi. Right? Is like, we have the adatu tashbih. And then the river is being defined as which does not stop being turbid. It is ever being pure for mankind a luster. So everything here is the wajhu shabah. You see?
Yes.
Naam? Because it is describing the river. Naam? So the river does not stop being turbid and it is always pure for mankind a luster. Is that clear?
Yes.
So now we know that the wajhu shabah is not always a word. The wajhu shabah can also be an entire sentence. What is the purpose of tashbih? Yani all the things I've mentioned here are things you need to memorize and know. One, showing the possibility of connecting two apparently contradictory things. Sometimes the reason why people do tashbih is to do what? Just to show the possibility. We call this bayan imkan tashbih. Yani showing the possibility of connecting two apparently contradictory things. So why people can do this, for example, in logic and rhetorics or in arguments, where people say, yeah, but you can't compare this to that. You say, sometimes we can compare this and that because they have a similarity. Like in qiyas, for example, because of a similarity, we're not going to say it's tashbih, but we are comparing two things. And sometimes these things might be contradictory in a sense, but have a common demeanor in another sense. Like, for example, khamr and hashish, for example. One is liquid, the other is solid. Naam? What?
I think, obviously I don't know.
No, I obviously don't know. So the one is liquid. You have liquid cannabis, of course, but the cannabis in its original form is solid, and wine is liquid. This one you smoke, the other one you drink. So they seem to be quite opposite, isn't it? But now, nevertheless, we do qiyas. Qiyas with things which are actually seem to be opposite to one another in their reality, but their common demeanor is the same, and which is it has intoxication. Okay? So, but in language we would do the same. Like, and the bigger of a linguist you are, the more you will be able to find common demeanors between two things which don't seem to have any common demeanor. Okay, so and this is when you say imkanu tashbih, you just want to show it's possible, and this shows that you're a linguist, that you are strong, that you are rich in vocabulary and understanding. Then the elucidation of the limitation of the power or weakness giving the object being compared. Bayan miqdar al-hal. Yani what do they mean here? Yeah, that was exactly the same here. But what do you think is intended by me saying this? What do I mean?
It's like you mentioned in the beginning that Muhammad is as strong as a bear.
Yes.
So what you're doing, you're either saying Muhammad is, so you're giving like a limit to how strong he is based on the limitations the bear has.
Yeah. So what you can do in brief, that is that you want to show how strong or how weak something is by comparing it to something else, or how bright something is, or how obscure something is. You know, and if you were just to say, for example, yani jahl is not good, or if you were to say al jahlu yani dhulamun, al jahlu kal dhulmi, and for example, you are now emphasizing how bad it is, or how and so forth, by comparing it to something else. Is that clear? So you are going to, if you want to show that something is weak, for example, you're going to compare it to something which is weaker than itself. Like if I were to say Muhammad is like a bear, now all of a sudden I'm describing Muhammad stronger than he really is. And if I now say yeah, but I'm not going to use the name Muhammad. Teddy bear. Like A is as weak as a mouse. Then all of a sudden, well, he isn't as weak as a mouse. A mouse is weaker. But now I want to actually emphasize on the fact how weak or how strong someone is by allowing myself to compare it to something which is surpassing his limits, or which is beneath his limits. Okay. Then confirmation or establishment of the permanence of the condition of the object compared. No? We will have a look at that. Beautification is a tazyin, and disfigurement is a taqbih. So it all depends to what you compare someone, isn't it? Like if I say, well, your face is as ugly as, I don't know, then I compare to something really bad, then that's bad. But your face is like al-badr. Yani wajhuka kal-badri. This is a tazyin. It is not literally meant apart with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yani when we say it about the Prophet, kana wajhuhu badra, yani then we see that Ibn Sayyid al-Nas rahimahullah azza wa jal mentioned in his book Nur al-Uyun, he said that the companion said, and then I looked at the face of Muhammad alayhi sallam, compared it to the moon, the full moon, and I didn't know whether the moon was giving more light or the face of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so this is this, and then disfigurement. Nam is, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, what? كالحمار يحمل أسفارا كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. Yani those who have knowledge but don't put it into practice are like a donkey which is carrying books. What did you want to say? You want to talk more about elucidation of the limitation?
I was thinking, so imkanu tashbih is two opposites.
Yes.
Darul hal is you just want to show the strength of the quality.
Yeah, it's not about opposites, is it?
No, here it's how strong or how
Yes.
weak.
Yes.
And taqrir al-hal is something that's already established, and
Yes,
you want to
exactly.
sort of emphasize it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then beautification is obvious, and taqbih is obvious as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the stronger you are, the more you can humiliate people by balagha. And the stronger you are, the more you can honor them as well. So this is why the shu'ara, apart from those who, anyway, the shu'ara, even in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Prophet ﷺ would say that their words are stronger than the swords and the arrows of the enemy. And then he said, go and the Ruh al-Qudus is with you. Yeah. So this is what poetry does. Okay, kinds of tashbih. Yes, please.
Just related to that.
Yes, Habibi.
So you know when they would recite poetry, there's different forms of poetry recital. Right? That's what I was reading this thing where Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah says that the men would never sing. Singing is not a masculine attribute, it's a feminine attribute. So men shouldn't sing, which is what you said. But then all the time you read this hadith about recital of poetry. So when they would recite poetry, would it just be sort of, how would they recite it? Would there be a tune? Would there be singing?
Well, the qafiyah would actually decide how it was read. You know, the mustaf'ilun, and so forth. So you would be in a certain pattern, but they would sing.
They would actually sing.
There would be a rhythm, like we know that man who was singing for his camel. You know, he was not singing, but how do you call this? Humming. He was humming for his camel with a rhythm, because the camel moves on your rhythm. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, hold your horses, figuratively speaking, hold your horses. He said, because you have what? Glass. And he was referring to the two women that were sitting on the camel, that he shouldn't go too fast. So he didn't tell him, don't sing. Also the ahbash, they were jumping, and they were jumping up and down, and they were like kind of singing as well, saying things about Muhammad alayhi sallam, beautiful things. So then Al-Hafid ibn Hajar in Fath al-Bari, he said, and it is allowed for men to do raqs. Al-Hafid ibn Hajar in Fath al-Bari. But then he said, raqsun min ghayri takassur. And raqs meaning dance, but not dancing like we think today, When our Salafi brethren hear this, they think that I'm saying, yeah, you can break dance and you can, go to the disco. No, that's not what I'm saying. He said, Al-Hafid ibn Hajar, it was raqs, and raqs is referring to dance, but without takassur. Takassur is without moving your wrists, without moving your shoulders, without moving your hips, without moving your feet like that, the same that you would do with... Yes, the joints are not allowed to move, because that's feminine. So he said back and forth and left and right and up and down. That's it. And this is why you see that our Salafi scholars, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them, like Muhammad bin Salih al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, and even Shaykh bin Baz, rahmatullah alayhi, they wouldn't disapprove of the national Saudi Arabian dance with the stick and the swords. They would say there's no problem in it. Well, they're going like this and like that and like this and like that. So it's quite Sufi-like, isn't it? But they said that's no problem. And the Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab week is no problem, but the birthday is a problem of the Prophet ﷺ. So you see that in Hafid ibn Hajar said raqs, there's no problem if it's not with takassur. So men can forth and back and left and right, and there's no problem at all. Singing is no problem. It's not something feminine, as long as it is in a manly way. I think a lot of our scholars would disapprove of the way that some people today sing anashid, which is very, very feminine. So as long as it is manly, there is no problem.
How do you define what's masculine?
Well, what we define as being masculine used to be traced back to the urf. But the problem is urf today is not as strong as it was before, because genders got mixed up. We believe in gender equality, but we don't believe in gender similarity. You see? So we believe this. We believe a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And if you choose to be transformed into something else, I will respect you as a human being, but I won't, according to my religion, it's wrong. So in brief, we're not going to elaborate on that, but we are allowed to sing. Imam al-Asfahani, he mentioned more than 1,000 different ways that the Arabs would sing. Yeah. And then Imam al-Sam'ani as well in al-Aghani. Imam al-Sam'ani in al-Aghani, thousands of ways that the Arabs would sing and so it was known. Allah. So kinds of tashbih. This is a very nice one. Tashbih al-mursal. Mursal. A free sima where the particle of tashbih is mentioned. So every kind of tashbih where you find that the particle of tashbih is being mentioned, we call that tashbih al-mursal. So here I say, إِنَّكَ كَالْمَطَرِ فِي الْجُودِ. Okay, so what do we have here? Where's the mushabbah bihi? Where's the mushabbah? Innaka. Yani it's, in reality it's the kaf, isn't it? The kaf is the mushabbah. Then where's the particle of tashbih? The kaf. Where's the mushabbah bihi? Matar. Where's the wajhu shabah? Al-Jud. Now, what is the philosophy behind the tashbih here? So what we need to know is sababu tashbih. What is the reason? Yani, what does he want to do here? Yani, he has compared you to the rain, and then what? In Jud. But now we need to understand what is the Jud of the matar, so that we understand the details of that which was intended. Well, we say وَنَزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً مُبَارَكًا. نعم أَنَّا صَبَبْنَا الْمَاءَ صَبًّا ثُمَّ شَقَقْنَا الْأَرْضَ شَقًّا فَأَنْبَتْنَا فِيهَا حَبًّا وَعِنَبًا وَقَضْبًا وَزَيْتُونًا وَنَخْلًا. Yani he's saying that the Jud of the rain is it keeps you alive. So in his tashbih it goes much further than, oh yeah, you're just a blessed rain. No, we're going to look at the Jud of al-matar. And the Jud of al-matar is إحياء الموات. Yani is giving life to the dead soil. And like this you give life to and happiness to me. The same, yani you keep people alive. Rain is there to keep people alive, to give them to drink. So all of this is intended.
So would this be miqdar hal?
Miqdar hal, for example. Yeah. The reason here is not tazyin.
No.
It's not tazyin. Because, أنت كالمطر في الجمال. I'm sorry. Compare me to the Badr, to a warda, but not to a raindrop, So by looking at the form of tashbih, you actually understand what's going on. Okay. Then we have tashbih al-mufassal, is a sima whereby the aspect of resemblance, wajhu shabah, is mentioned. So that means it can mursal, it can also be mufassal, isn't it? Okay, but you need to know that this is how we define it. So tashbih al-mufassal is a sima whereby the aspect of resemblance, wajhu shabah, is mentioned. Let's have a look in this exercise. Yes.
Should we pronounce it simile?
Simile. So thank you for correcting me, but you should have done it from the very beginning. Nervous? Why? Do I make you nervous? You are the one with 4 in front of me. Yes. No, you have to do the exercise. So the exercise is أخلاقك كالنسيم في الرقة. أخلاقك كالنسيم. What is a nasim?
A wind.
A breeze.
A breeze.
Not a wind. A breeze. أخلاقك كالنسيم في الرقة. What is riqqa? Softness, graciousness, and so forth. Okay? So, your behavior is like a breeze in its riqqa. Alright. Do the exercise. Mushabbah, mushabbah bi, wajhu shabah, the reason. What kind? Is it tazyin? Is it taqreer? What is it? Bayan al-imkan, and so forth. Yeah. Where's the mushabbah? أخلاقك. Is it أخلاقك or is it أخلاق? It's أخلاقك with the idafa included, because it's your behavior, not somebody else's. No? So this is the mushabbah. Continue. Kaf is adatu tashbih. Nasim is the mushabbah bihi. Yes, في الرقة is the wajhu الشبه. No? So why is he doing this?
The same way a breeze, so the feeling that a breeze gives you the sense of sakina that you have.
No. But what is the reason for his tashbih? Is it taqbih? Is it tazyin? Is it taqrir al-hal, bayan al-imkan? تقرير الحال you say.
So what's Bayan al-Hal? I don't know if you put, did you put that one in?
بيان مقدار
Huh?
بيان مقدار الحال.
Yes. بيان مقدار الحال. Why nobody says it's تزيين? No, it's a question. I'm not saying this.
It doesn't have to be like physical beauty. It can be internal beauty as well.
It can.
It can.
Yeah.
So then it would be.
Can be both.
Can be both. Yes. We never said that it can only be one.
Yeah.
But it can't be تزيين and تقبيح altogether. No? It can also be بيان الإمكان and التزيين and المقدار. You understand? No. Then simile we say, right? We have تشبيه مؤكد, empathic simile in which the particle of comparison is not expressed. So what is missing here? The أداة تشبيه, the particle of comparison. الجواد في السرعة برق خاطف. What's the meaning of this? الجواد في السرعة.
Well, Jawad is the generous person.
Okay.
Surah is speed. Barq is obviously lightning. Khatif means to snatch.
Yes.
So I guess the generous.
So translated freely.
The generous person in his, I think it would be like his speed of response
Okay.
is like a snatching lightning.
Naam. It goes quicker than the yani. Okay. So do we have the wajh shabah here?
Yes.
The wajh shabah we have.
Yeah, for surah.
في السرعة. So what is missing here? أداة تشبيه. أداة تشبيه. Yes. Because otherwise it would have said الجواد في السرعة كبرق خاطف.
So what's the difference then between mu'akkad and mursal?
Both, some of them they interlink.
When you say
Okay.
free,
Yes.
what's the difference between
I'm sorry. Where did you say which one?
So in the first one it says a free simile, and in the mu'akkad it says empathic simile.
Yes. Wait, I'm going to have a look one moment. Huh? So you say Tashbeeh al-Mursal is a free simile where the particle of Tashbeeh is mentioned. And Tashbeeh al-Mu'akkad, empathic simile, is in which the particle of comparison is not expressed. So, well, I don't understand your question.
Oh, so one is a free simile, the other one's an empathic simile.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between them? Or what makes a simile empathic? What makes it free?
That is the terms that I've looked up and they used for this. Okay, so I've went to one of the universities and I've looked at the terms they use for these forms of tashbih. So I just wrote it down in English because in Arabic I don't know how to define them in English, just in Arabic, and this is what they've written down. But the definition of it is different, isn't it? So that's it. So these are university terms. So anyway.
If we put this simply, would it be correct to say الجواد كبرق خاطف في السرعة? Would that be correct?
That would be correct. And if you would say الجواد برق خاطف, this would not be balagha because the connection is not obvious. Right? So here when you see that if you were to remove Asim, if you were to remove all of it and the reason for comparison wouldn't be obvious, then we can say it's bayanul imkan. Bayan imkan al-tashbih. You understand? Like if I say al-jawadu without us having read this, al-jawadu barqun khatif. If you would say Hussein Bolt barqun khatif, yes, it's obvious. So if it is not obvious without the means helping to do the tashbih, like either the particle of tashbih and the wajhul shabah, then we are going to say it's bayanul imkan. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because outwardly there is no way that you can compare the jawad to the barq khatif. And how do you know that? By saying al jawadu barqun khatif. It doesn't make sense. But if I say Usain Bolt barqun khatif, then yes. And if I were to say this snail is barqun khatif, would that be tashbih? Would that be a good way of tashbih or not?
It depends what the thing is.
In a snail race,
maybe this snail in comparison to all other snails
Yes.
is really fast.
So here, when I would say, يعني the snail, يعني برق خاطف, then it can also be istihza.
Yes.
You know, it can be istihza. Like, oh, you're really quick, that's a form of sarcasm. But here, you are in front of the snail race and you say, this one is barqun khatif. Then all of a sudden, yani, it applies to it. Is that clear? Okay. But was there, it is also to show bayanu or imkan at-tashbih, because in reality, it doesn't seem to be working. All right? Tashbih baligh, a condition whereby the adatu tashbih and wajhu shabah of the simile are dropped. So what is missing here? What is missing? The adatu and the wajh. وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا. That's for the one who wants. Where's the mushabbah? Where's the mushabbah bihi?
الليل is مشبه اللباس is مشبه به.
Okay. الليل is mushabbah and libas is mushabbah bihi. There is no kaf. We didn't say وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ كَاللِّبَاسِ. And we didn't say وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ كَاللِّبَاسِ because of this reason in which they are similar. So now the layl and the libas, why are they compared to one another?
Because they're both all covering, all encompassing.
All encompassing, all covering? Well, no. Some clothes don't cover the awrah.
They cover.
Fakhr al-Din al-Razi rahmatullah alayhi in the tafsir.
They cover whatever you want them to cover.
They cover, the night doesn't cover what you want to cover, it covers what it wants to cover.
You can't just take it off, or you can just take it off.
Let me just share what Fakhr al-Din al-Razi says, yeah? So Fakhr al-Din al-Razi rahmatullah alayhi, he says, and one of the reasons why al-layl is compared to libas, he said because when a person is tired, he's in a state. His state is, his skin is pale, he's got eye bags, the white of his eyes is reddish, his concentration is not the same, and his posture is not the same. And then when he sleeps and wakes up, he's a different person. So we turn the night into a garment. Yani, exactly as when you wear new clothes, you look different. When you sleep, you look different.
Could you say it's a bit like you wear the night in your appearance?
Yes, you wear the night in your appearance. It's like you're going to, how do you call that? The sun bank, or what do you call that? Where people go to burn.
The beach.
The
beach.
Not the beach, Sayyidi. What?
Sunbathing.
Sunbathing.
At the beach.
No. No, how do you call that? There, under these lights.
Oh, the UV
A sunbed, right?
sunbed.
Yeah. So it is a kind of sunbed. Now, so you lay down and you wake up and all of a sudden you're different. Different kind of energy, different kind of vibe, and everything is different. So this is why, according to Fakhr al-Din al-Razi rahmatullah alayhi, وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا, it's like the night is a garment which changes the way you look. You see this? And I like this explanation a lot. I can't say it's better or not better, but I like it a lot. And I believe that this is intended as well. وَجَعَلْنَا اللَّيْلَ لِبَاسًا. But the thing is, now the adatu tashbih and the wajhu shabah are left alone, so this is a stronger form of tashbih. Because it is actually, we turn this into that. Yani this is that and that is this. So meaning that the similarity is almost exactly the same. And it is. Because exactly like if you see somebody, anyway, I don't want to make it too long. So here, then we have tashbih tamthili, is a simile whereby the aspect of resemblance would be a picture of something visible. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. So a simile whereby the aspect of resemblance would be a picture of something visible. Is that clear?
Like there's an image that comes to mind.
There's an image that comes to mind. Like Allah says, and those who were given the responsibility of the to carry the Tawrat and to live by it and invite to it and so forth, and then didn't do this, they are like a donkey carrying books. Like it's an image which has been given. Donkeys carrying a book. Books. So, but what is the reason for tashbih here? Well, a donkey with books on his back doesn't get any smarter, does he? So, meaning it's not about knowledge.
To be honest, a donkey with a book in front of his face doesn't get much smarter either.
Excuse me?
A donkey with books in front of his face isn't going to get.
Exactly. Yes. Yes, that's true.
So it's really that. So it's even if they did read it, it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Now I'm thinking about what you're saying.
Donkey? No. You can't read something.
Yeah. They are the carriers of knowledge. And they carry the knowledge, they carry the revelation, but they don't live up to it. So a very important principle of Imam al-Qurtubi rahmatullahi alayhi is that every ayah in the Quran which is about the munafiqeen, which is about the Yahud and the Nasara and the Kafirin, applies to us up to a certain degree. So meaning that everything, if we now don't put knowledge into practice, we will be like donkeys carrying books. So and up to a certain degree, every ayah applies to us as well. If we have one of these characteristics for which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rebukes people. Anyway. Tashbeeh based on perception. Mahsusun bil mahsus. You compare something perceived through at least one of the senses to something which is perceived by one of the senses. رأيت الولد كأنه وردة في الجمال. I saw the boy and it was like he was a flower in his beauty. He's as beautiful as a flower. So here, رأيت الولد, where is the mushabbah? Walad. And where is the adat tashbih? كأن. Where is the wajhu shabah? And what is warda? Mushabbah bihi. So this is mahsusun bil mahsus. Is mahsus with a sin or with a sad? Sin. Then mahsus bil ma'qul, kind of simile whereby the mushabbah is perceivable through senses and the mushabbah bihi is seen through intellect. الخلق السيء يفسد العمل كما يفسد الخل العسل. Okay. Right. Explain, Asim.
So that's a hadith.
Yes, that's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ.
Saying bad character corrupts actions the same way that vinegar corrupts honey.
Yes. So where is the mushabbah? Where is the mushabbah bihi?
ما يفسد الخل الأصل.
الخل.
Just خل sir.
I'm looking with you. Okay, so we erase this, right? Where's the eraser here? MashaAllah. Feiruz is taking good care of me. Oh, really? Okay, that's even better. Look, the hal of al-khuluq al-sayyi is that it yufsidu al-amal, isn't it? Al-khuluq al-sayyi yufsidu al-amal.
That's all mushabbah.
Kama, exactly. This here, the kaf. And then yufsidu al-khal al-asal. So that's the mushabbah bihi. So it is an entirety being compared to an entirety. So it's not one word, is it?
And there's no wajh shabah there?
Yes, there is wajh shabah.
But we can't see it.
What is the wajh shabah? Fasad. But it is mentioned twice. Al-khuluq al-sayyi yufsidu al-amal. And kama is also the adat tashbih, but it's also what?
In terms of balagha.
Yeah. So الخلق السيء يفسد العمل. تقبيل. And what does that mean, تقبيل? Excuse me? Disfigurement, تقبيح. But I'm not looking for that. So we have al-mushabbah, we have al-mushabbah bihi, we have adatu shabah and wajhu shabah. So there's nothing left? You're sure? Okay, so define it now. Where's the mushabbah? What if we were to say al-khuluq al-sayyi' is the mushabbah?
Yes.
And then al-khalwa al-asal is the mushabbah bihi. And then you have yufsidu al-amal would be what then?
Another mushabbah.
Another mushabbah? Wajhu shabah. What do you think about this one?
So what's yufsidu khalwa al-asl? Or they're both wajhu shabah. Doing two wajhu shabah.
And or is the wajhu shabah kama yufsidu? Go home and look, and come to me with the explanation. You will find this in a lot of books. Yes, you will. Okay? So come to me and bring it to me, but really bring it, not just like I will and you don't. Okay, bismillah. Haqiqa and majaz. Where a word is literally used for its meaning, it is called haqiqa. We call this isti'mal haqiqi. When a word is used to denote a semantic notion for which it was originally introduced, كان البحر هادئا. So now, where a word is literally used for its meaning, it is called haqiqa. So when I say Muhammadun Bahrun, did I really mean Bahr or didn't I mean Bahr?
You don't obviously mean Bahr.
I don't mean Bahr. Symbolically. Here he says, that's me, by the way. I say, a rhetorical term that used to denote a word for a meaning other than for which it was originally introduced is majaz. Now, how do I know this? The Bahr was meant, by the way. Right? Bahr, I'm really comparing it to the Bahr. The Bahr, I'm comparing it to Muhammadun kil Bahr. I mean the Bahr, but I don't mean that Muhammad is real Bahr.
Yeah, so it's not.
It's haqiqa. Yes, the Bahr is haqiqa. If I say Muhammad is a lion, then I really mean the lion.
Yes.
But I don't mean Muhammad is a lion. But I'm comparing it to the real lion. So how am I going to differentiate whether the word in the Tashbeeh is the true intended or the non-intended, or the is haqiqa or majaz? For example, look, if I say, I saw a lion fighting with his sword.
Yeah, so it's qara'in.
Yes, but is now lion haqiqa or majaz? Majaz. But when I say Muhammad is a lion, what do I mean in the lion? Is the lion the real lion that I intend, or do I intend, for example, a warrior? No, I intend the lion itself. Do you understand what I mean? So through the qarina you can know whether something is haqiqa or majaz. Like for example, and then Ibn Taymiyyah differs, of course, but so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ask the qarya, can I ask a village? No, I can't ask a village. The qarina is there, and what is the qarina? Through the aql, I know that I can't ask buildings, I can't ask streets, I can't ask a village. It means the people of the village. So now we come back. Sometimes a word is used like for a reason, for the very reason why it exists, and sometimes for another meaning because it contains another meaning. Like for example, if I were to say وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ, lower your wings. Do I have wings? No. So what is it now, haqiqa or majaz? Majaz. Why? Because I don't have wings. We know a human being doesn't have wings. Well, actually. So is that clear? So if I now in balagha, if I say, but then it won't be tashbeeh anymore, right? If I say I saw a lion fighting with a sword, then now there is majaz going on. There is no longer haqiqa. Yeah.
You know, if you go back to the haqiqa slide,
Yes.
it said when a word is used for what it was originally produced for, or whatever, who decides? You know, so when a word, who decides what the original meaning of the word is?
The lugha.
Because that's a debate, right, between the Ash'ari and the Mu'tazila.
Of course, but for me the debate only exists in aqidah.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
But they'll say, so the Mu'tazilites will say, we decide the meanings of words. We give haqiqa ourselves.
We don't decide the meanings of words. We know.
وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ. Allah decides the meanings of words. So what's...
Well, I don't believe that this is the meaning. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ. No, I don't. I go by one of the opinions of Imam Ibn al-Jinni, who says that وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا يعني أعطاه القدرة ليعطي الأسماء. He gave him the what? Ability to name things. So for me, Adam didn't know everything, but he had the possibility to see a thing, and this is what defines us from other beings. We are able to name things. And this is why now the computer, I don't believe that Adam knew what a computer was.
So you're saying Allah didn't give things...
No, I'm always afraid when you say things like that. I believe that Allah created within us the possibility to name things. That's it.
So what decides that? I know this is not...
No, that's okay, it's okay. It's okay.
How he decides that pen, this is called a pen, and this will be a pen, or whatever. So is it...
ما تعرف عليه الناس.
Okay, but what about people then? The things, meanings of words can change.
So, brothers and sisters, this is a philosophical debate, and that's Asim. Yes.
Okay, so I know Ibn Taymiyyah, he says that it's the Waqf again that decide the meaning of things. But I'm assuming the Ash'ari position is that because that's why we can't take a hand to mean a hand, and Ibn Taymiyyah can for Allah.
No, I don't agree.
In Aqidah, because he'll say, because we decide what...
No, because we believe that there are different meanings, but we have al-isti'mal, yani al-haqiqa wal-majaz, which is known, and according to the context, we know whether it's haqiqa or majaz. You understand what I mean? So, and yes, but in when it comes down to the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have in our aqidah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't look like His creation doesn't look like Him. He doesn't have that point. No, He doesn't. Yeah, good. For me, it's simple. I think the more you dive into it, the more it becomes complicated.
Because in linguistics, this is a big thing. So in linguistics, they talk about what gives words meaning and the power of language and what language does in terms of building worldviews and stuff like that.
No.
So yeah, it's something I've looked at. But
Yeah.
I'm going to look at it again.
Do it.
Inshallah, and then I'll come back.
But I believe that there is the first thing we understand from a word is for everybody the same. If I say I, what do you believe, what do you understand?
Well, it depends. Are you saying I as in I or I as in I?
Okay, that was you. What did you understand when I said I? Not I mean an I.
Yeah.
Okay, you understand this, right? Okay. So if I say roll, the word roll up, do you know what it means? Roll something up, you know what it means? Okay. You know what the word sleeve means?
Yes.
A sleeve. If I say roll up your sleeves, what do I mean? Oh, you became a Salafi all of a sudden. Roll up your sleeves means being prepared to do something, right?
Oh, okay.
So when I say, come on, tomorrow it will be difficult, roll up your sleeves, nobody will go like this, right? Nobody will stop rolling up the sleeves. Everybody will understand. These words rolling separately, rolling up your sleeves and sleeves is understood. But the context shows us what is intended. And so when it comes down to the aqidah, yani the sifat of Allah Jalla wa Ala, the asma'illahi azza wa jal, we have other nusus telling us that we are not allowed to understand it in the literal way. Because laysa kamithlihi shay.
Yes, I believe that.
I know you believe that. Yeah.
But it's just trying to understand.
I don't go too far with that. I believe the book of Badruddin ibn Jama'ah, Idah al-Dalil, is the best book ever.
He was contemporary with him.
Yes, he was the reason why Ibn Taymiyyah went to jail.
Yes, but they were sort of friends like it as well.
Up to a certain degree, yes.
Until he said interesting.
We shall be covering this.
Yes, we will be covering this. Yes. So and for me, what I believe, Asim, is yes, we need to go into these details at a higher level. But I also believe that the practical side of Aqidah, like Idah al-Dalil and so forth, really teaches you how to understand the nusus about Asma wa Sifat. Yani immediately from a practical, yeah.
I'm sorry for that.
No, that's okay. So anyway, to come back, Haqiqa and Majaz. So when I say Muhammad is like al-Bahr, then I truly intend the real Bahr. But if I say Muhammadun Bahrun, or I say رأيت بحرا ينفق. رأيت بحرا ينفق. Now is the Bahr Haqiqa or Majaz? Majaz. Why? Because the Bahr can't yunfiq. You see? So here the Haqiqa and Majaz is very often understood through what? Through the context. This can be through the aql, this can be through the language, this can be through so many different things. So this is the same why we say, for example, وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ. Don't be saddened, don't be weakened, and you are the highest. وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنْتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. What is al-a'lawn, the highest?
Like higher moral ground.
A higher moral ground. How did you get to this?
It doesn't physically mean actually.
Because of the aql.
Yeah.
We see that we are not higher, and we also know that being higher physically doesn't mean anything. I can live on the 10th floor and I'm very poor, and you live on the first floor and you're very rich. So al-ulu al-dhati, yani al-hissi, yani doesn't imply anything. The physical elevation above somebody else. Now there are people flying maybe over our heads. They're the worst people ever. And there might be people working in the mines having the purest hearts ever. So that doesn't mean anything. So this is why when the Salafiyya, they say like al-ulu should be al-ulu al-dhati, yani the physical highness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning that He's there. Yani it's not of an added value of being physically higher than anybody, but being higher in status is. I'm higher in everything. So, and when we say higher, actually with Allah we shouldn't say higher. It's the highest. Because when you say higher, it's a superlative. And superlatives should only be used, or are only used when they can be compared to something from its category. High, higher, highest. Or higher, if you understand what I mean. So Allah is most high, but not in comparison to others. Because we even don't compare Allah to others. Do you understand what I mean? Allah is just, do we say the strongest, or do we say the strong one? Yes. Is it the Rabb that is A'la? Or is it the Ism? That's a very good question. Look it up for me. No, I understand what you mean. Yes. No, but how are we going to translate it? Are we always going to translate it yani word for word into the English language? Or are we supposed to translate things from a religious perspective before looking at the linguistic perspective? You understand what I mean? So this is very important, because very often we might translate something just because of this, but we forget about the aqidah issue. Like for example, we say ثُمَّ اسْتَوَى إِلَى السَّمَاءِ, and then He directed Himself. There is no and then for Allah. Because if you say Allah did first this and then He did that, He's not creation where He says, okay, now I'm doing this, now I'm doing that. Well, I would translate it as for example, Fakhruddin al-Razi and others have explained in their tafsir that ثُمَّ وَمَعَ ذَلِكَ وَفَوْقَ ذَلِكَ قَدْ أَنْعَمَ عَلَيْكُمْ بِكَذَا وَكَذَا. So the thumma here doesn't mean and then. It means He did not only do this, He also did that for you. So the thumma is referring to more to us than it is to Him. You see? So this is why even when we translate things which have to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should translate it in the light of the aqidah and not in the light of what? Of the language. Because aqidah is defined, language is restricted by aqidah. Language is restricted by aqidah, and aqidah is not restricted by language, if you understand what I mean. So, anyway, yeah.
Because we've got over time.
Yes.
I won't ask anything. I did have a look.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khairan wa sallallahu wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad. So anyway, you know majaz, haqiqa, everything. So that's it, inshallah. Next time we're going to have a lot of exercises from the Quran. Yes, we are. But now we understand a bit of this. I want some exercises from the Quran where we are going to look, and we are going to cover the book. If I have the book.
I left it at home.
Yeah, because then I can. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Wa sallallahu alaihi wa sallam ala Muhammad. 2 minutes break. Yeah.
So next class is on the 5th of January.
Yes. We have a two week break. You don't like breaks?
Nah, because I'm on holidays from university, so I was thinking with some good studying. But yeah, too much free time isn't good for you.
I don't think you have a lot of free time.
Nah, trust me.
You don't.